You don't have a money problem. You have a comfort problem. And the worst part, it feels responsible. It feels mature. It feels normal. You wake up, go to work, pay rent, stream your shows, maybe throw a bit into a savings account, grab takeout because you earned it. You tell yourself you'll get serious about investing when you make more. That's the script. And almost everyone you know is running it. But here's the quiet, uncomfortable truth. You're not building a life. You're optimizing for comfort. Inside a system that slowly trades your time for survival. That tension you feel when you check your bank account. That subtle anxiety when someone mentions investing. That's not incompetence. That's your future self tapping you on the shoulder. And if you ignore it, this doesn't just stay the same. It compounds. Act 1. The invisible trade. There's a behavior most people call stability. It looks like this. A decent job, predictable paycheck, upgraded apartment when income rises, slightly nicer car, better phone, more subscriptions. Nothing wild, nothing reckless, just incremental comfort. Sounds fair, right? Here's the question no one asks. At what point did I want freedom quietly turn into, I just don't want to feel stressed? Because those are not the same goal. Freedom requires discomfort. Comfort requires maintenance. And maintenance never ends. The rent adjusts. The lifestyle adapts. The expectations rise. You don't notice it happening. It's subtle, almost polite. But over time, your financial life becomes designed around protecting your current comfort instead of expanding your future control. And this is where it gets interesting. Because once your lifestyle inflates, your options shrink. Not immediately. Gradually. That's the trap. 1. The pay raise that quietly owns you. Let's say you get a raise. You worked hard for it. Respect. So what do? You upgrade something. Better neighborhood. New wardrobe. Weekend trips. Maybe you tell yourself, I deserve to live a little. You do. But here's the sneaky part. Your expenses rise to match your income. And now your new lifestyle becomes your baseline. Not luxury. Baseline. Pause for a second. If you lost your job tomorrow, could you downshift your life without panic? Most people can't. Not because they're irresponsible. Because they optimized for comfort instead of flexibility. And flexibility is freedom. In the US, Canada, Australia, same story. In the UK, Germany, Switzerland, different accents, same pattern. People earn more, but feel just as financially tight. Why? Because lifestyle inflation is socially rewarded. Investing quietly isn't. Nobody claps when you automate contributions to an index fund. But they'll absolutely notice your new car. We chase visible upgrades. We ignore invisible leverage. And that's where most people get it wrong. Because wealth isn't about what you can afford this year. It's about how many years of your life you can buy back. That's a different game. And most people aren't even playing it. They're playing Don't Feel Broke. That's Act 1 of the trap. But it gets deeper. 2. You're renting your identity. There's another layer to this. You don't just upgrade your lifestyle. You upgrade your identity. I live here now. I shop here now. I'm the kind of person who flies business on long flights. It feels good. It feels earned. But if your identity depends on ongoing income, then your confidence depends on ongoing income. That's fragile. Real control feels different. It's quieter, more grounded. It's knowing that your investments are working whether you're online or off-grid in Norway, chilling by a lake in Switzerland, or surfing somewhere in New Zealand. Money invested is time working. Money spent is time consumed. And here's the uncomfortable question. When you spend to signal growth, are you actually growing, or are you leasing a version of yourself? This might sting a bit. If your lifestyle disappeared tomorrow, who would you be? That's not dramatic. That's leverage thinking. Because financial freedom isn't about flexing. It's about optionality. Can you say no to a toxic job? Can you take 6 months to build something? Can you relocate without financial chaos? Most people can't, not because they lack intelligence, but because they built a life that requires constant feeding. That's the cost of optimizing comfort. And here's the twist. The system encourages it. Credit makes it easy. Social media normalizes it. Peers validate it. You think you're winning, but you're just staying busy. And busy is not free. Or the illusion of I'll start later. This is the one that quietly wrecks long-term wealth. I'll invest when I make more. Sounds logical. Except income rarely creates discipline. Discipline creates income. Time is the one asset you can't negotiate with. Whether you're in the US or the UAE, London or Sydney, compounding doesn't care about your plans. It cares about when you started. Here's what most 20-somethings underestimate. The cost of waiting isn't just money. It's psychological positioning. When you delay investing, you train your brain to consume first and build later. And that habit scales with income. So when you finally earn more, you don't suddenly become strategic. You just become a higher earning consumer. Brutal? Maybe. Accurate? Very. Pause. If you're making decent money right now, not crazy money, just solid, and you're still telling yourself you'll invest seriously next year, this might be about you, not in a shame way, in a clarity way, because the gap between comfort and control widens quietly. And once your fixed costs get heavy enough, investing feels like sacrifice instead of strategy. That's the inflection point. That's where most people stay stuck. 4. Control feels boring until it doesn't. Here's something nobody glamorizes. Automating investments. Living slightly below your means. Building a 12-month runway instead of a 3-month cushion. Choosing index funds over speculation. It's not flashy. It doesn't trend. But it compounds. And control compounds faster than dopamine. When markets dip, the comfort-optimized person panics. Their expenses are high. Their margin is thin. They feel exposed. The control-optimized person, they're calm. Because they built Slack into their life. Slack is underrated. Slack means you don't need every paycheck to survive. Slack means you can take calculated risks. Slack means you're not one surprise away from stress. That's real wealth. Not the car. Not the watch. Not the curated apartment. It's the ability to say, I'm good. And mean it. This is where most advice gets shallow. It tells you what to buy. It doesn't ask who you're becoming. If your financial system doesn't increase your freedom, it's just maintaining your current comfort at a higher cost. And that's expensive in ways spreadsheets don't show. So what's the alternative? You stop asking, what can I afford? And start asking, what does this cost me in future options? Every dollar has a hidden fork in the road. Immediate comfort or long-term control. Not forever, not all or nothing, but consistently. Wealth mindset isn't about grinding harder. It's about positioning. You position your income to create assets. You position your lifestyle below your earnings. You position your identity around ownership, not appearance. And here's the calm truth. You don't need extreme moves. You need systems, automated investing, clear asset allocation, intentional lifestyle caps, long-term thinking measured in decades, not quarters. That's how you decouple survival from your time. And when that starts happening, even a little, something shifts internally. You feel lighter, not because you bought more, because you owe less to the present. Control is addictive in a healthy way. It replaces anxiety with structure. It replaces comparison with direction. It replaces I hope this works out with I built this. That's powerful. And here's the thing most people miss. Financial freedom isn't a number. It's a ratio. The ratio of required income to desired life. Lower the required income, increase asset income. Protect the gap. Repeat. Slowly, calmly, relentlessly. Most people won't do this. They'll optimize comfort, upgrade lifestyles, stay just busy enough to feel productive, and 10 years will pass faster than you think. But you don't have to play that game. You can design for optionality. You can choose delayed validation over instant applause. You can build quiet leverage while everyone else builds visible consumption. And one day when something shifts, a market dip, a job change, a life pivot, you won't scramble. You'll adjust. That's freedom. Not loud, not viral, just solid. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Are you building a life that looks stable, or one that's actually controlled? There's a difference. And most financial advice completely ignores it. If this hit a little deeper than expected, the next step is obvious. Watch the video on your screen about why most financial advice ignores human behavior. Because once you understand how your psychology interacts with money, you stop optimizing comfort, and you start engineering freedom. I'll see you there.